Okay. And it seems like I'm live. Cool. I'm gonna be playing some Minecraft today, but first of all, let's play the song that I made. So, and let me just So yeah, I was previously playing Minecraft. I was streaming on YouTube, and basically the idea was to do okay, 1 second. Yeah, the idea was to do peaceful but in infinite Minecraft. So a while back there was a version of Minecraft they did as a April Fool's joke. It was 20W14 or something, and essentially if you make a let me just finish this. Sorry, it's like I haven't streamed in like a really long time. So I'm not really used to it. Okay. I think it does it. Yeah. Yeah, so was I. Okay. Let me just check. I need to find a specific coordinates. So I'm starting a new world. And I need to get to this location that I want to start at. Which is at... Okay, it's this one. So it'll be minus 72, 81, 351. Yeah. So I got to make my way there. It's like getting myself confused. Yeah, it's a pretty cool song. I didn't know there was Badlands over there. Is that going? Oh, it's not going in the right direction. Oh. So I need to do this. Oh. Then I can bring it back. So, well, the idea is that I can load like a YouTube video up and react to it or something. So that's the plan for that. But I don't really have anything to respond to at the moment. But yeah, basically I need to get to this location that I keep forgetting. Okay, there we go. So yeah, let's start again with explaining. Okay, so it's a peaceful Minecraft, and then there was like a version of Minecraft that came out on April Fool's, like they do like April Fool's versions, and it lets you go to like a random dimension, and so what you do is you make a portal, and then you write with a book and quill, and then you throw it into the portal, and then depending on what you wrote, it loads like there's like a randomizer algorithm, whatever, So it'll take you to like a random dimension, and then there you go. I was like, I'm sure there's like a run feature. And the same text that you put in will take you to the same dimension. So I was playing that for a while, but yeah, it came out like quite a while ago, so um, it didn't have all like the newer biomes and stuff. And then obviously like I stopped streaming, and then I was like thinking if I should go back to that world again. But then I found this mod that cool cave. I found this mod that basically tries to recreate that functionality, so you can like have like a more newer version of Minecraft and get some flowers. We're at it. So yeah, I'm playing that mod now, and yeah, so I'm basically starting again with that whole plan of peaceful mode of Minecraft, but with the dimensions basically. And so the thinking behind that is that like sometimes in peaceful it's hard to get hold of certain things, like there might be certain farms or whatever that you can't do because like those hostile mobs aren't spawning. I think we're basically here. So yeah, so if you can get like a whole bunch of different dimensions, then that'll help with that, and also makes it more interesting. Melons. And so yeah, I'm gonna see how I can do. But the other thing you might notice on the mini map, I don't know if you can tell, but you know, maybe go this way. Yeah. But there's like seemingly like a lot of repetition to the terrain there. I don't know why it's on manual cave mode. It doesn't need to be on manual cave mode. I don't know. Oh, wait. Am I looking for anything? Yeah. Why is it showing the caves when I'm above ground? But anyway, that's a cool way to see them all. So there's these repetitive stuff in. So this seed of Minecraft is one that I found that I really like playing because you get those repetitive structures, and there's like even like I need to get this direction, like tunnels and stuff that go on forever. So it can be cool for like having like an underground base or like some kind of underground tunnel system. Okay, I'm going to get there eventually. There's a canyon. I don't think I have that flower. But yeah, and so yeah, one of the reasons that I like playing the peaceful version is because the mobs don't hurt you. and also it's like you don't have to hurt them, which is cool. Ooh. Isn't that like sugarcane? Okay, this is like a cave. Somewhere around here is where I wanted to make my base, I think. So I'm not too sure exactly where. But in theory, down there is going to be some of those repeating tunnels I was just mentioning. Guess I need wood. I don't have that mod. Like sometimes I play with the mod that like makes everything fall down as soon as you just chop like the bottom log. It's pretty cool, but it doesn't seem to be on. Okay. Oops. It's like I haven't started a new world in Minecraft in such a long time. What are you doing there? But yeah, last time I was playing, like I think or streaming was on YouTube. My plan is to try and stream to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, but what is going on? I thought tab like opened your inventory. Now like the map is taking it over. Which one is inventory? Tab lists players. Did I just forget how to use Minecraft? Wait. Maybe this is just the way it is. Alright, that can't be possible. Ooh, there. Okay. It's E. Jeepers. I feel like a boomer. What was it doing again? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the plan is to stream to both Twitch and YouTube, but I think I don't really have that set up right now. So maybe what I'll do for now, because it works that way, is I can stream on Twitch and I'll just upload the VOD to YouTube or something. So the YouTube one won't be live, I guess, but it wasn't really live anyway for a lot of it. Like, I don't remember. I think I did I do some live ones? I think so. I can't remember. Yes, probably. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I stopped because I was like burning out, I think. Just had like stuff going on. Well, I just moved houses after breaking up. Well, I guess you could say getting divorced. But but that was like a year before I moved. Because we still had to sell the house and all that. And in the meanwhile, met my new partner. But anyway, after been living here for a while, not that long, we got like broken into, and yeah. So if at first when that happened, like I just kept streaming, or like I just, or can't remember exactly now. My memory's a bit fuzzy, but I changed something about my YouTubing. Wait, yeah, I started. Can't remember when I started. Yeah, I started for like a while before that, yeah. Or was it after? I can't remember. Wow, my memory's so bad. Need to get some of this different colored wood. Can you climb? Is there? That was self-sabotage. And then, but yeah, that was like the people that like broke in, and that obviously that was traumatic. But like it didn't really like hit me immediately. Is like what I'm trying to say. And then we had like the civil unrest stuff that happened here, and where like I don't know if that's really the right term for it anyway, but that's what people call it. But it was like just people that went to the shops and took stuff because they were hungry and stuff. So I guess you could call that civil unrest, but it wasn't like violent, or there wasn't anything really political. I mean, people have said that there were some political entities that wanted that type of thing to happen, but I mean, I think it didn't really seem super political to me anyway. But yeah, anyway, although that didn't really endanger us at all, because that's what I mean by when I say it wasn't political. Like they weren't trying to go to people's houses or anything. They were going to like the big shops and stuff. But they were going past my house, and it wasn't like that. You know, there were at the time like people were like trying to spread inflammatory like stuff on WhatsApp, and like trying to incite people and saying like, oh, listen, this people did this and this at this location, and this and this people are planning to do this at this location. Just trying to, maybe trying to just cause trouble, and maybe trying to get people to actually do something out of fear. But people didn't really do that for a large part. There was some stuff that was a little sketchy that happened there, but not relating to the. Well, I don't know if it's directly. No, I don't think it's directly relating to the WhatsApp stuff, but it wasn't what was happening that really scared me or anything, but it was enough to kind of make that trauma like more real. That I was, it made it hit me more. I don't know why. I guess those scary messages make you think, well, what if those messages are true and someone did come to my house, and it's like that kind of thought process that. So anyway, that's when I realized like that I had to take a break because like I'd just been going on the pilot for a while. And it's like the initial reason why I even started making YouTube videos and streaming and all that stuff was because I felt like I wanted to share what was on my mind and that kind of thing. And then in those moments, I was like more closed off and kind of introspective and so yeah. Anyway, I didn't want to just keep going because I was like, I want to do it out of a place of like, I can't not do it, if that makes sense. Where it's like, um, it's like, I don't know, I can't hold myself back, and because I don't know, I want to participate, I guess. I want to be part of the conversation, maybe, or feel like I have a valuable perspective or insight to add to stuff that people are talking about, or just be able to have cool conversations and deconstruct stuff and unpack things. And you don't get that many people who are like really leftists, you could say, who do like streaming and stuff. I mean, everybody knows Hassan, obviously. Hassan mentioned, but yeah, and then there are other streamers and stuff, but I still think like overall it's quite a lowish percentage wise in the ratio, and so it can't really hurt to have more leftist voices, even if we're saying like all kind of the same thing. At least would say it in maybe a bit of a different way, and because that's kind of what's happening on the right. Everyone's kind of just saying the same stuff, but they just all say it in their own different way, and then the way that you say things may get through to or appeal to, be relatable to someone that the way someone else speaks isn't. Then, yeah. So, I guess you might get to a point where you feel like every single thing I have to say is already been said, and then I guess you could still be entertaining, and there's other reasons. Um, but yeah. Then I guess I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I kind of want to get back in touch, you know? Okay, so let's do crafting. Wait, I don't want to make a word yet like that. I want to do that. Yeah. Get one of those. Yeah, and I guess now is probably also a good time for more transgender people, especially those who are non-binary, um, to speak out with what's going down in USA, and then like trying to say, oh, we're officially only two genders, but then they revert to the sexes, and then they define it by sex at conception, which means that everyone in the USA is female now, which is a weird way of going about things. If I were, they obviously, to them it doesn't matter, you know. even if they are technically saying that everybody's female, they'll just be like, oh, you know what it means. They're not going to be like, oh, I didn't realize it. No, we totally love trans people. Now that we're all trans, now it's cool. No, that's not how it's going to work. Well, I guess only half of the people would automatically be trans. It's like now that at least 50 whatever percent of us are trans, no, they're just going to be like, no, I'm not trans. We, whatever. Work mind varies. You don't know how to read. I don't know. It's so far from science. Like the concept of two genders is so far. It's as far from scientific thought. It's further actually from scientific thought than flat Earth. Because if you go outside and you look around you, you'll only kind of see flatness. Maybe if you like go to the top of like a hill and you're looking out distant horizon, you might see a little bit of a curvature. Or if you like, go up into an aeroplane, then definitely you will see it. But I don't actually need to build like probably stone. So I need like to make sticks. That's not it. Yeah. Like even if they were gonna try and like ban being trans, like they should at least do their research. Yeah. like what would hurt them with being honest and well, maybe a lot would, but just thinking like they could in theory be honest about it and be like, yeah, we understand that gender is a social construct. We understand it's imaginary. We understand that it's impossible for in imagined concepts to only have two iterations because brains are able to immediately just imagine additional things. Like it's when we are doing like children's like stories with animals or doing aliens or something, they normally display them as like neither male nor female. So like that's how easy it is to imagine. You just look at a cartoon and then imagine that, or just imagine any cartoon you've ever seen, except maybe the Pokemon. But you know what I mean? Like, just imagine any kid's cartoon, okay? Now you've been able to imagine, well, okay, yeah, basically, you know what I mean? Like, you can imagine more than two. So they could, in theory, be honest and be like, we understand it's imaginary. We understand that it's impossible for something imaginary to stop it too, because you can always just imagine the next one. We agree. However, we are going to, only recognize two of the imagined genders and treat those as more like superior than the others. They could do that, and they could like still like hurt the people they're trying to hurt essentially. But it's weird to go the extra step of denial, and I guess maybe it's something they themselves are confused about. But then, if we're talking about like millions and millions of people that don't understand that a social construct is impossible to have two, or don't understand that gender is a social construct, we're talking about people with such a little understanding of the world and how it works. That you kind of have to stop being logical at a certain point, because it's like they are not operating on logic. So it doesn't matter what's logical. It doesn't matter, you know. And that's why, if you care about the truth, you might find it very difficult to get on board with the right wing, because they only care about winning and will use information that makes them look like they're winning, and may accidentally even use factual information in the process now and then. But they do not care about the truth, because if you care about the truth, how can you imply that in a forget gender, any social construct, how can you, like, on or off, like, okay, but what if something's 50% on, like, can something only be 50% on? I feel like it can. You have a light, you switch the light on, and if you had to have a dimmer, then you might dim it, and then you've not switched it all the way on. So, is there any social construct? I want to know, like, is there any where you can stop it too, like, legitimately, and not be able to imagine another? So it doesn't, gender has nothing to do with the I mean, obviously for them it's got everything to do with that. But what I'm saying is, in terms of assessing their ability and their relationship to truth, it's got nothing to do with gender, because the problem is even deeper than that. The problem is in even believing in a social construct can be limited to two, or not understanding what a social construct is, or not understanding that gender is a social construct. All three of those things are very, very basic concept to understand. But, I think I'm pretty sure, like, I can't remember ever really believing that there are only two genders. Like, even when I was raised with, like, conservative, Christian, like, bigoted values and stuff, even then, like, I was raised to be transphobic, but I don't think I went as far as thinking there were only two genders. I don't know. Maybe I did, but I mean, when you're young, especially, your brain is not fully developed, so it's easy to fall for stuff because you get told it and then you just repeat it. So yeah, anyway, wanting to be part of it, and then but I haven't, like, completely been off YouTube or content creating entirely. Like, I haven't been putting stuff up on my own channels necessarily, but I was doing stuff on YouTube. So the one thing I did, or basically the first thing I did, was way back when Ethan Klein was being a cool bro back in the day. I don't know, it was like kind of post-COVID, the sun meltdown. Yeah. I mean, looking back now, there's so much stuff. And some of it I saw and some of it I didn't, Admittedly, like, I think the worst stuff, I think I saw like years ago though. That's the thing. It's like, I guess I have also grown as a person, so I'm not as gullible to or ignorant about, easily falling for the hasbara that they are oftentimes putting that on the show, because I said, like, I was raised with conservative Christian, so the whole, like, in the end days, like, Jewish people are gonna have Israel, and then that's Armageddon and all that stuff. This is like the kind of stuff that they actually believed in, like the churches I was going to when I was young. And so when people in the USA are like, say stuff like, there's more Christian Zionists than there are Jewish Zionists in the USA, that's completely plausible to me, because even amongst like the people I've met, because I don't remember ever, like, I'm sure there was, but I don't remember meeting any Zionist Jews. Despite like the one school I went to, there was like enough of the school was practicing that they would give us off on like a lot of the Jewish holidays. We wouldn't even have to go to school. So, and like the concept of Zionism at least, like, no one was really talking about it anyway. But maybe it's more like a USA thing amongst like the Jewish people, or maybe it's just not a Jewish thing at all. Like, it just doesn't really feel like a Jewish thing, other than like the minority who often are the ones who actually went there or whatever. It's a bit of a controversial topic to be talking about. So anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but definitely am on board with free Palestine, and I don't think we need to conflate anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. So doing that, I think, hurts the people that, it hurts Jewish people to do that. So yeah, anyway, my point was that I was making clips for the H3 channel. So for a while there, it was like they'd release a show, then I'd download the video, split into topics, upload each topic one by one. Well, I guess could try and find the channel. Where would it be? I mean, it's like you don't have to just take my word for it if it's still there. Huh? So yeah, I renamed the channel. So initially, it was called the H3 Clip Factory. Wait, I can show it now. But it's like pretty small. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it small because it's cool. But yeah, anyway, I changed it to Shout Out, by the way, after the meltdown. And but yeah, so I used to clip H2 channel and then make thumbnails. And like I would like some of these thumbnails, you know, spend a while on. Some of them not so much. And yeah, I mean, it's not that long ago, like, and it was pretty good. But obviously, there was like the Chestnut Gate stuff that happened, and that was like right at the beginning of when I started making it. So that was when Ethan announced it, and then we started clipping. And it's like, yeah, I was a big fan. So I was just found it fun to participate. Like, I hadn't been doing much stuff on YouTube, and I was like, who knows, maybe the channel will get big and there will be a way to like make money or something. But yeah, it didn't really get big. And then and then there was also another channel also that ended up using the same name, but like I looked everywhere on YouTube, everywhere, and no one was using H3 Clip Factory. So I made the channel, created like Twitters and all that, made a couple videos, and then checked again, and there was someone else with the same name, and then they started getting more views than me, and I was like, gone.
Love, are you about to start moonlighting, doing your day job?
Cam,
Same highlights, but on a different channel.
basically, if Cam was the good days of H3 are like the days when Cam was running. So yeah, I made that like intro there for the channel.
Here's to all the industrial entrepreneuring spirit.
One from Zach's best sound.
Shout out to that person because that takes a lot of work, so I respect.
I think I'm maybe sub to the Zach one from Zach's best sound.
Shout out to that person because that takes a lot of work, so I respect it.
Oh, I think I put it on
Folks,
Instagram.
get out there and spread your wings.
I'm trying to find the part where Ethan read my chat message. Anyway, I think let me try and find it not there first. But yeah, and then they had the green screen tournament. I wonder if oh yeah, it is here. Okay, so stop with the tomatoes. Can't you use Instagram without logging in? That seems weird. Where is he? Let me do this. Wait. Nope. It's gonna work. Okay. Don't know which password this is. Oh, I got it. You seriously have to like log in to even like look at Instagram. That's right. Okay. Where was it? It would have been a video. Maybe it was on Instagram.
This is gonna be weird. This is gonna be creepy. This is gonna be borderline inappropriate.
Do you have your passport, bitch? I said, do you have your motherfucking passport?
It's so small.
Go down home, I'ma do it, baby. Time on a shit.
Instagram.
H3 Clip Factory.
You see, where Ethan said H3 Clip Factory there. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay.
Somebody call.
Like, seriously?
Somebody
How do we
call
get it to be
H3
bigger?
Clip Factory says.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is Ethan, and then my comment here. So this was from me, not the other YouTube channel, H3 Clip Factory, and I was a member at the time, and I said, Ethan is a centrist, right?
Shout out, by the way. Somebody call H3 Clip Factory says. Shout out, by the way. Somebody call H3
Yeah,
Clip
okay,
Factory.
you can stop now.
Shout out, by the way.
Does it just keep doing that? So yeah, basically that's why I renamed it to Shout Out, by the way, because when Ethan read my comments, he said, "Shout out, by the way," and also, I called him a centrist, and he read it. And honestly, now I don't even know if he's still a centrist. He may have moved right, but he was. The thing is, with people in the USA, they often think that the Democratic Party are leftists, so they think, "Oh, I'm in the center between the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm a centrist." But you're in between a center right and a far right. So you're just moderate right, essentially. Or, I don't know. You gotta be further left than the Democrats to be centrist, because they're further right than center. And Ethan's not. I don't think Ethan's further left than the Democratic Party. I don't know. The Democratic Party certainly seems to not want a one-state solution. So yeah, I was making clips for them, and then the other channel was doing better. So, but also yeah, then I made the green screen competition. Oh, and then after yeah, so this was the green screen competition. This was my submission. Not really worth watching. I don't know. It's kind of bad. I'll watch it if people want me to, maybe. But then I just started uploading some clips on here that were like parodies or whatever. Because like this was when Ethan started having his meltdown, and I was like, I need to like show some of this hypocrisy, So this was when I was still using this channel. So
I was in Duchifat, which is
this was what, when I saw this, I was like,
Mhm.
I'm unsubscribing.
in charge of the area of Ramallah.
So this clip I made, I just added some info on about from Wikipedia about the battalion she's talking about,
Right below the big boy.
just to give some people some more info, and then just also listed some of the
It was more
you know,
demanding in a way,
violations of
but
like, human rights and stuff that battalion's,
more rewarding.
just to kind of show what
With
the culture or the atmosphere that she would have been in is one of a lot of like violations and stuff, and then
And
I mean
it's hard to explain, but
it's,
for me it was more interesting. I enjoyed it more.
You told me once you went on like a mission with them to like a terrorist city.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
Crazy story.
Yeah.
that statement blew my mind.
officers and like the
They called Ramallah a terrorist city. Like that blew my mind. And now,
raid
you know, Israel's invading,
to arrest terrorists.
trying to annex the West Bank.
So I always saw them preparing for it and leaving, and then I
So
stay in the base.
Mm.
So one time I wanted to go with them just to
it's like
experience it.
Why you just were all
it's
in
not disconnected.
had an
It's
urge
like
to go
I
with
I just wanted to see what it's like.
Right.
Wanted to see it.
feel like she should
So yeah,
not be cool with all stuff.
with them one
And
they weren't supposed to.
Did they armor you
she's
with
like
that?
talking about this raid she went on, and I found footage from this battalion,
Right.
like Dutchy Fights or whatever battalion. They uploaded footage, and it was like
As soon as we
kind of weird. Like it kind of
the
had like
people in the city
sketchy vibes to me.
Wow.
and I heard, like,
But
the jeep like,
part of the footage of it was of them on one of their raids,
It's a gnarly
and
armor.
so I thought like she's talking about it. Let's see with our own eyes what she's talking about. These are the armored jeeps that they would have gone in
They were shooting
through the cities, and then
in the car when you went in there right away.
yeah, who knows if people really were shooting, because it could have just been rocks and stuff.
Not supposed to leave.
But even if they were shooting, it's like
really. But even if I
you're not meant to be there. And then like that's like
Okay.
did get out of the
you know what an IDF raid
surrounded with them.
in like the West Bank looks like.
Anyone?
You know,
They did.
Did they
So-
bring you in the same car with you?
No.
Oh,
yeah.
You go,
different car.
there's a few cars going.
To me, that's quite something you
Like, how did you feel?
experience, and then you kind of be like, I'm going to be against all this stuff now. You know,
How so?
seems something. You know, I mean, she even mentions that it's surreal,
Just
but it's like it's a bit more than surreal.
people in the house, and then it's like the soldiers just walk into the house and look through their shit and find guns, and the whole thing is really surreal.
Yeah, it's like, is it surreal? Is that the word? But I felt like adding some images on there, so that you can see with your own eyes like what's being talked about, you know. And then this one was a parody, because you know I come from South Africa, so don't worry, I'm not showing like the stuff Ethan's worried about, but I'm showing something that's
You disavow this video, Nate, because
so originally Hassan was showing Nick.
And I want to make it very clear that
Were they
I actually do not
called?
condone this. I think these guys
I don't
are
want to
dangerous,
use
and it's
like
dangerous, and it's dangerous propaganda.
the wrong name
I'm
necessarily.
Is it up, Nate? Yeah, throw that up when I watch this, because frankly,
So I'm not the most.
watching this clip,
I never claim to know everything. No. Ansar Allah.
introduces it as a fun.
Hassan was showing me one of the Ansar Allah music videos where they are like basically it was a resistance song, because they've been victims of genocide for a long time, being bombed, and so they were making resistance songs that people make when they're being oppressed to lift their morale. And so when Hassan was showing Nick, and then Ethan reacted to it,
For master rifles and assault rifles,
you know, and I'm showing comparisons. This is a famous ANC song,
and leaves his poor friend
My Machine Gun,
taking
you know,
Houthi terrorism.
and it's all about the context. This is literally our president, or he's not our president anymore, but Jacob Zuma was our president,
And this man just left.
and he's saying,
George Bush,
you know,
when he heard 9/11 happen.
Madiba told us that we should pick up arms. Like, yeah. Madiba called us to take up arms. You know, when you're being oppressed, when you're under like genocide,
He's just
many people are victims of genocide. Like,
Poor guy. I wish I had this at a high
you've got to have strong words on your own side too, to like confront the brutality you're being confronted with, you know. So anyway, I thought it was quite funny how like you can just pick. I just found stuff that's all like post Well, I
Notice
think
the
they
age
might.
of these
I don't know
kids
about the
dancing
last one,
guns
but
and rifles.
they're pretty much all
How old
post
would you say these kids are here?
the ANC coming to power.
They look 50.
Actually, yeah, the last one probably is as well.
Just saying.
And I don't see the difference, you know, between like Ansarallah and Mkhonto Sizwe, the original. Because now there's the MK party. There's now a new political party in South Africa that
Comes
isn't.
back from the bathroom. We've now
Well, maybe it's still.
tested
It's
a
they've
minute
broken
and
with
10
they've broken with the
seconds
ANC, and it
of, mitigated
wasn't
terrorist
around. And it's been
propaganda.
revived. Or I don't know. But they're kind of different, but they're kind of not because it's also kind of the same people. Let's just say it's a new identity. It's not. It's no longer framed in
Minute video of
a joke.
what do you mean a music
So like,
video? When you said music video, I'm expecting like bad example, Chris Brown dancing. You know,
No. They do like
What is
they do
this?
musicals. They're very musical people. No,
are you being serious?
yeah. And then here's Madiba,
Look, you think I made
and
I know there's
you know they're singing like
done
"We
it.
the
This
members
is a
of
music video,
MK."
Hassan.
No, it is. They do musicals.
Pledged
now,
ourselves to
like they're action
the
all the time.
Amabula.
That's called terrorist
You know,
propaganda. They do it
like
to be.
they weren't saying like, "Oh, only the bad ones," because that's not how you talk.
And Hassan is doing exactly
When
what
you're
they're bidding, more than they could have ever.
when the
done
people killing you
by,
aren't
broadcasting this directly
making
on
distinctions. You can't blame people to not make distinctions, and then, but the thing is, it's not in their hearts to be like. They don't want to be like the people who are oppressing them. They want freedom, you know. So
They're just talking
once
about
they get their freedom, they can't pull off the same atrocities because they never wanted to do those atrocities to start with. And kind of maybe threatening those atrocities is a way to stand up for yourself and be like, you can't keep getting away with this, and like,
and once
you
again,
can't keep doing things
very
and not expect it to be
flowers
done back,
language.
you know. But it doesn't mean that it's within your heart to actually go and do, and like, if the other people were being peaceful for you to start doing it, you know, only one side started to do it from a position of it not being done. But yeah, so that was the H3 clip factory. So basically, the green screen competition, like, I don't know, like they said, oh, we're gonna watch all of them. It doesn't matter how long. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I was being gullible, but it's like you don't even get an honorable mention, and you spend a lot of time working on something, and it's like, okay, maybe it sucked, but there were so many other good ones that also didn't get mentioned, and it's like I kind of got disillusioned with being a clip channel from that, of them anyway. And there was just those new ones. So then after that, then that's when I started looking for a new podcast, and then I found the Don't Worry podcast, and so basically just started making clips for them now. They know about it, they're cool with it, because they weren't making clips for their own channel. Well, they did before, but weren't able to keep doing that because it's like work, you know. So I just offered to do that, and then at some point, I guess, you know, we'll see. I can hand this over to someone else, or if they get someone full time who wants to take it over from me or something like that, you know, we'll see. But for now, I've just been, you know, like clipping the podcast, and it's like way better than the H3 podcast. Let's be honest. And so yeah, I made this video over like the Christmas break. Worked on this, which was like a highlight of all the spiciest moments of 2024. Because I just wanted to have like some kind of recap of the year, even though I only started clipping like right at the end of the year. But yeah, so if you don't watch the Do Not Worry podcast, then you need to go check them out. But anyway, that was that. So then on my own channel now, I kind of just made all of the other videos I had enlisted or whatever, except for these two at the moment. And but then on my gaming channel, yeah, so that was as far as I got that. But yeah, I'll potentially upload this VOD onto the gaming channel. But yeah, so I've also, used, like I was saying, I was a big fan of H2H3. That is
I don't want to go too into
This is like,
right now, but
Do Not Worry and Bad Hasbara are like the best
you guys
podcasts I've found.
edit this.
And I guess in a way, for that, I'm glad that Ethan had his meltdown, because I probably would have taken longer to find them, let's say, without the motivation to like fill the content gap in my life. And obviously, the H2 podcast was creating quite a lot of content, so it's not just one podcast that you need to find to replace them. But yeah, I was also really upset when they got Denim's banned and Fergan and the rest of the people on that Twitch podcast. Not trying to get myself banned, so I don't know how much I can discuss that topic, but let's just say it was clearly not a racial tier list. It was clearly not about it didn't have anything to do with Jewish people at all. You can be white and like Sabra, and it's, yeah. The fact that Zionists don't like good Hamas is just a quirky happenstance. It's got nothing. It's not to say anything. It's more just, obviously there will definitely be Jewish people who don't like Sabra Hamas, but they're also usually the ones who have been eating hummus for very many generations. I think that's about as much as I can get into it. If your family's been eating hummus for generations and generations and hundreds of years, then you probably wouldn't like Sabra hummus. And that's not to do with what your family actually is or isn't. It's just to say that, like, you wouldn't like Sabra hummus if it's been part of your culture for hundreds of years. That's, I don't know. I don't think so. Is that spicy? Hopefully that's not too spicy of a take. So yeah, the thinking was like, so I was saying I got upset about that with Ethan, and so now I think I don't know what's going to happen when he drops like his content nuke thing, because he keeps saying he's delaying it because he wants it to be perfect, and it's like, so I was like, maybe I should start getting into streaming or like get organized. So everyone else seems to want to be like live streaming when it drops. It's like we could all do it together, and then it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be mentioned in it or not, because obviously I haven't been making content for a long time. But he did have like these text files, Ethan, on his hard drive, where it was like name of streamer TRS, as if it's like the chat logs of the chats breaking TRS. But the thing is, like, I don't break TRS in Twitch, but I do chat a lot in like Denim's chat or whatever's like some yeah, I don't know. But most of the streamers I watch them on YouTube, so there's not that many I come to Twitch to watch. But Denim's is one of them, and you know, obviously I comment on what's being talked about. So I might come into the video as a comment, maybe. We'll see. I don't think he would have come across those clips I made, or, you know, posted some of them to Snark, and then he has like kind of like semi-noticed the Do Not Worry podcast. Like they have now like a couple times covered them. They never mention them by name, and I think the most recent time they actually called them rats, which is like, bro, it's like a bit Islamophobic. So, but you know, because I've been clipping for them, when I have a clip that's relevant to Ethan, I'll go and post it on Snark. And so, if Ethan is watching Snark, or I don't know if he still is or whatever, but if he goes there to see what people are doing and sees the Do Not Worry clips on there, I don't know. I like to think, even if it's not Ethan and it's just like orbiters of him and his crew, his newfound whatever they are group, but they seem to be not the greatest group of people, to be honest. I mean, both Lonerbucks and Destiny like quitting now because their bad behavior and or lack of good faith is being revealed, and I'm not getting into that stuff, but yeah. Anyway, I like to think I contributed in some way to the zeitgeist or the feeling Ethan has of being called out, even if he doesn't see any of my direct calling outs, just like because it's like so sad, like I'm sure he's brought people with him, you know, who've now maybe didn't know enough about the topic or whatever, and are just giving him the benefit of the doubt, and now not knowing or not understanding the substance of the things. So maybe, yeah, I kind of stopped playing for all day, but I need to like build a basics or like a starting kind of basic thing. But yeah, so like I was thinking of that's one of the other reasons to get into streaming, and then I can also like react to stuff that's happening in politics. So like, you know, like for example now with the USA, we have Elon Musk throwing up a sick hill, which is kind of annoying because I'm kind of not surprised that he went that far to the right. But I just wish it hadn't happened, and I feel like it might have been avoidable. I don't know how much nuance people want to have about the topic, but let's just say there was a point in time where people who called themselves, or even may even have been themselves leftists, were making a very huge point about making fun of Elon Musk when he was in some other interviews and he was saying that he thought of himself as a socialist, and people tore him to shreds. And the thing is, like, I kind of relate, or not relate, maybe even relate, younger me would have related, but I understand a little bit about how the thought process at that point in time. And essentially, it's like he probably didn't know a whole lot about the topic. It was going based on vibes, you know. So like, and then he was talking about how he liked, I think it was like the Culture series or something, and that's like a book that many people talk about as being one of the few sci-fi books that actually portrays anarchism. So I feel like maybe part of the ridicule that he was getting may have been from like Marxist-Leninist side, where for them the fact that he had mentioned that stuff was kind of going over their head. Like he also would mention things like wanting to experiment with different consensus models for like laws being passed and then having built-in sunset clauses, and there was like often not a lot, a very minor amount, but there was like some amount of like thought on his end towards like fixing like the socio-economic model, so to speak. And anyway, I feel like there was like a backlash, and we can argue whether I'm not saying it was wrong. Like the backlash is not necessarily wrong. It's more about strategy, because I feel like there's certain behaviors that produce certain outcomes. So, and then there's other behaviors that produce different outcomes. And so my question, you know, is what is the outcome meant to be? Because there's certain behaviors where there's a certain outcome. Like, for example, mocking someone to the effect of, but even if it's not like an ideal comparison, but somewhat like the cool kids, you know, in the cafeteria being like, no, you can't sit with us. What the hell? Those are fake, whatever clothing brand that you meant to have real clothing brand of. You can't sit with us, you know, and yet, you know, so that person would then obviously not only feel rejected by the people saying that, but by the sort of affinity group that they've, you know, built themselves around, or the community. So you get someone who is obviously not a socialist, like obviously, but saying like certain things and then referencing certain things, you know, and then certain people who may potentially not have taken the things that were being referenced seriously, adding to them not taking what he was saying seriously, or adding to them perceiving it as being a lie or a disingenuous statement rather than because, you know, if we're going to be completely honest, if people want a Marxist-Leninist style government, you know, I don't think that's socialist. So, you know, but the thing is, when I try to communicate that to those people, I try to tell them like, look, even Lenin himself said it was state capitalism. They called it socialism or communism in their party or whatever names because that was their goal. They were like, we want to get there. We're going to be the vehicle to get there. Where this is the socialism train. Get on board the socialism train. Socialism is our destination. And then the train actually didn't go there. It didn't, and I'm not too sure if those types of trains can actually ever get there. I'm not sure if, I don't think the train tracks head in that direction. But anyway, if you call that shorthand the socialism train long enough, that people forget that it was supposed to be the destination. Now they think the train itself is socialism. And welcome to modern society. And history and what people said seems not to matter anymore. And it's hard for me not to shake the feeling that it's got something to do with wanting ownership over socialism and communism within the Marxist ideosphere, not wanting to allow non-Marxist frameworks into that sphere. So that could lead to both overinflating how socialist that framework itself actually is, to the point where you're claiming the vehicle is the destination, Well, you probably don't know. That's the problem. But anyway, I like to tell people that communism was invented a decade before Marx was born. And when Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto, he wrote an essay about how capitalism works. And he wrote an essay about how the capitalist class and the working class were at odds with each other. So to me, that comes off extremely strongly as a study of capitalism. Now, it's true that understanding capitalism from may have been the way it worked. The fact that there was this class division may not have been something people understood, and so, understand wanting to tell people about it. But what I don't understand was then calling that the Communist Manifesto, having absolutely zero to do with communism whatsoever. It's literally just, hey workers, this is how capitalism works. See, this is why you can't ever get anywhere. And this is why the system itself needs to change. That's essentially, if you want things to be different, it can't be done via like reformations, so to speak. Was that something profound? Like, to some people it may have been quite profound, but in terms of like philosophy, like that was very weak and like stuff people had been saying for a long time. And all the good sort of bits that got added in, like talking about like alienation and stuff, actual useful like frameworks of thought, was things that Marx didn't come up with. He just wrote about them. And oftentimes the people who did come up with those ideas were also writing about them, and were actually writing about them in ways that made way more sense than what Marx was saying. and then those people would write responses to or criticisms of Marx, and Marx would get very triggered. And to the point, I'm saying like would like get into the point of starting to use like ad hominem attacks and stuff against said person. We're talking about Max Turner, obviously. So to me, it's like once you know something, you can't like kind of go back to not knowing it. So I will never be able to be convinced that Marxism is communist, simply because I know that communism existed before Marx was born. It was already a specific divine thing. And then Marx came around and he didn't talk about it at all, other than name one of his essays on capitalism about it. Like, does that make sense? Probably not. But yeah, essentially, I don't like Marxism because, for many reasons, but I don't necessarily want to get into it right now. Yeah, I don't. It's also getting kind of late, so I'm probably going to end off in a bit. But yeah, I wanted to kind of just catch up and kind of get a feel for doing this again and see how it is, if I can like multitask and see how laggy, if my machine is actually able to do this, or if I need to consider a different game or not playing a game. I mean, there are other games that are less graphically intensive than this. My other computer that has a proper graphics card is not working. So at the moment I have to try and make this one work. So yeah, the sun is setting. I don't need to continually show like a paused video, do I? See, that's what I mean, like getting used to what I'm doing. And yeah, I don't know, I'm also like trying to summarize stuff and use memory and stuff. If I was like reacting to a video, I think it would be a bit easier to do, but I might try that next time. Don't bark at me. What did I do to you? Oh my word. Is this your house? Am I trespassing, guys? So, but yeah, I would like to talk about stuff a bit more, maybe in the future. And yeah, it's absolutely wild to me that Elon Musk is throwing up Sig Hills. I was basically, to finish off that point, I was just trying to say like there's strategies, and so what could have been done, what could have been done was to be like, yo, this is why what you're saying is wrong, or if you're into socialism or the idea of socialism, then let's get into it. Do you understand how if this and this goes against that idea, and you can't be both this and that? Like, there's conflicts here, there's contradictions, and try and have a conversation with it on that. And because you're dealing with like that kind of like debate brain type person, so they don't respond to like just being told you're wrong. Like, and I'm also kind of like that, where I don't respond to being told you're wrong. Like, you have to tell me what is wrong about it. people just making fun. Oh, I can't believe you called yourself a socialist. That is going to result in, oh, I can't sit at the cool table vibes, you know. And then it's like, fine, you probably are happy that he's not trying to sit at your table anymore. But to me, it's like, why? At the very least, get him to choose not to sit there because he realizes that your values are too intense for him. Like, that you actually expecting him to, like, not be like, you know, to start allowing unions at his companies and stuff. Like, you can be like, cool, you want to sit with us? That's cool. So now that you're sitting, we need you to start implementing unions. And then he can be like, no, I don't agree with unions. And you're like, oh, but I thought you wanted to sit with the socialists. Socialists are into unions. Look here. This is why unions are good, you know. And I feel like if there was a group of people who had done that, because I at the time that all this was going down, because we're talking about like 10 years ago or something, and I was thinking like, if I had a day to spend and I could just explain and deprogram, it's like, obviously I'm not going to change someone, but I could at least explain it enough that he would stop using the wrong words to identify himself, you know, without it being like bullied out of the situation, but to generally make the informed decision. Oh, I understand now that I am not a socialist and that the kinds of things I wanted to implement or the kinds of ideas for socialism I had are actually what I was thinking was more closer to like maybe post-scarcity than actual socialism. Because that's another thing, is people who think you can only have socialism or communism, full communism, once you reach post-scarcity, are essentially just capitalists, because that's meaningless. So you're saying we'll get socialism when we don't need it anymore, when we no longer need to try and divide resources up equitably. That's when we'll implement the equitable way of distributing resources. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So, you know, if someone's thinking to themselves of like, oh, I support socialism, but in their mind they're thinking post-scarcity and supporting that, and oh, but we can do capitalism for now, but we need to do capitalism that gets us to post-scarcity faster. If we do capitalism that gets us to post-scarcity faster, then we're doing socialism. And that isn't actually doing socialism, that's just trying to do capitalism in as less destructive way as possible, hoping that, you know, you transfer the things that are valuable from material to intellectual fast enough. And then the intellectual things are still going, you're still going to have a market for the intellectual things once you've solved post-scarcity on physical things. So, you know, that's not socialism. Socialism is when things are made for people because people need those things. So capital is when you make things for capital. By making things, you get capital. Or you use capital to get more capital, you know? So socialism doesn't have money. So if you need bread, someone has to make a bread, and then they give you that bread for free, and then you get your bread. But you might ask, why would they just give you a bread for free? What about all this stuff it cost them? Like, what if it cost them a whole bunch of flour and electricity and I don't know what else, salt? What else goes into bread? But then it'll be like, okay, so what, the flour, so that gets farmed and then they get given the flour for free. Okay, cool. Then what else do they need? The salt, okay, they get given the salt for free. Electricity gets supplied for free. So everything that they need to make the bread, all the input into the production is free. Therefore, the only real cost is labor, and you, instead of charging for the labor, you give it to free, and then what that ends up doing is making it so that you only do the labor when you want the outcome. So you're not incentivized to do a thing for a reward disconnected from that thing. You do the thing for the reward of that thing. You make a bread either for yourself or for someone else because you want either yourself or someone else to have a bread. Not because making it can lead to a trade to something, and then later you get the other thing, and then the other, and then the or the bank account, and then this and that. No. If you want bread, then you get it for free. And then if you make bread, you give it away for free. Repeat for every single thing on earth, and nothing actually needs to cost anything. The only reason it has to cost now is because your inputs have costs. If your inputs have costs, then your output is going to have costs to cover that. If there are no input costs, then there's no output costs. And so you could think of socialism when people say gaining the means of production, doesn't mean the government takes over and regulates away capitalism. It means you have the ability to produce things yourselves, like within your own capacity. So, maybe that means you and 10 friends all bought a farm together. It doesn't have to mean you took over the government or, a union that corporatized the factory, or it could be something like that, but could just be you just all pitched in together, got a loan together, bought a farm together. Now you collectively, as a group of people, have control over a means of production. Now, what matters more than whether you have control or not is what you do with it. That's the thing. It doesn't matter if workers control the means of production and then they use those means of production to produce in a capitalist way, then you've just got corrupt capitalism. You don't actually have, you're not outside of capitalism yet. What makes it outside of capitalism is when you get that control of the means of production, then you use the means of production, now that you have control of it, to make things for free. And so you need a means of production in every industry in the supply chain, networked together to be able to make all the goods for free. And then you have socialism. It's got nothing to do with governments and all that nonsense. It's not a Marxist-Leninist thing. Marxist-Leninism is a form of capitalism. It's a way of doing capitalism. Socialism is a completely different thing altogether from capitalism. So yeah, anyway, I guess that is maybe the one political take I'll leave you with. And just getting a bunch of resources here so that when I find the place that I want to build my base, I can just build some kind of structure without having to go find resources and then go back and go back. Plus, yeah, like I was saying, it's getting late. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it there, and I'm going to review how this went, and if things went smoothly, I might do this again. Otherwise, I hope y'all have a nice day. Bye.